what kind of changes have you seen during this time?
Yeah. Good question. I think like probably the biggest change I've seen is just like acceptance of BIM. Because I think when I first worked as a technician, like BIM was like the thing that no one wanted to do, but we all had to do. And like everyone almost was like blaming Revit and BIM for everything that was wrong with the industry at the time. I think eventually we just realized that we don't get anywhere by complaining about things. We only get somewhere by embracing and trying and giving people opportunities. And I think that's probably the biggest change I've noticed. The attitude to BIM is more positive. I think too, at the same time, I've noticed that like the graduates are coming out like very skilled now. So it's been good to see there's a bit of a skill inversion in the industry where a lot of graduates are getting really good opportunities really early, just because they're coming out with super relevant skills to like the new techniques. So like some graduates, they get client interaction in their first year or two. And, you know, back when I was first working, that wasn't really a thing. Like when you're a graduate, it was very hard to meet the client and get that sort of experience. So I think they're probably the two biggest changes. And obviously like programming and coding is probably a big change that's really emerged over the last probably 3 or 4 years of my career. I've noticed it. So like Grasshopper becoming more popular, and then Dynamo sort of joining the picture as well. And now Rhino inside. So I've noticed that that's really changing, I guess, the way that we approach our projects, but also how we approach our systems and how we can save time and, you know, build up processes that we can speed up and automate. I think they've really changed how I approach my job, and sort of make it more fun as well, because we no longer have to do all those manual tasks that we did, you know, 7 or 8 years ago. There's things that I would have done that took a whole day that I can do in probably like a few clicks now. So it's pretty amazing how much things have changed there.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's really interesting what you mentioned about the new people who are just graduated and they have the skill set and tools that industry needs right now. And then when you see the organizations, there's the old folk who is really experienced. They know everything about materials and everything. And then the new folk who then comes with the softwares, and then it's a big collaboration between those two. And I think it's really interesting and enjoying to see how all of this plays out.
Yeah, and it's so important that those two types of people like communicate and get together. I think that's probably the only way that our industry can really improve, if the people with the knowledge interact with the people with the skills and like they sort of teach each other. I mean, ultimately we need the people with the knowledge to keep passing on their knowledge. That's like a really big part of it. But at the same time, just giving people the opportunity to sort of share each other's experience and skills. Because there's so many programs and there's so many building types that to learn it all, it's like it's impossible. You have to pick like little bits and pieces and then rely on other people to sort of build the overall picture of how a project comes together. So I always encourage like the graduates should always communicate with like the veterans in the office, and the veterans, you know, shouldn't dismiss the software. There's that need for that sort of teamwork to bring it all together.